Hi there, my name is Marco Villalobos. I'm an employment specialist here at the Goodwill Workforce Connection Center in Lombard, Illinois. And you can find us on the web at goodwillchicago.com, or you can go on Facebook and find us on Facebook, GW Workforce Connection Centers, and you can find us there. Today we're going to talk about career exploration and employment search engines. Slide. So career exploration and employment search engines. This is a question we get a lot from folks who are looking for work. They either have had a job for 20 years and are now looking for a new career. Maybe they were laid off and they're trying to get back into the workforce. Maybe they're freshly out of college and it's something that they have never really done before. So we want to give people an opportunity to kind of understand what the basics of career exploration and employment search engines, which ones are the best ones to use, how do we utilize them, how do they work. So that's the kind of the material we're going to be covering today. Slide. And I'm going to start with a quote here because we really have to get into what's called job search mode. So when you're looking for work, it's really important that you focus on your preparation. That's really important. Abraham Lincoln once said, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. Really what he's talking about is the preparation that's required to do the job. Folks come in and they ask, how soon will I get hired? How soon? And I let them know it's going to be a process. Finding a job is work. It's going to take time. But the more prepared you are to start your search process, the better off you're going to be in the long run. Slide. So what would be the first step? Really, the first step would be start to think about where you've been, okay, what you've already done. So your accomplishments. What have I accomplished already in my career? What have I done in the jobs? What did I enjoy and what did I not like? What did I dread? Start thinking about your former jobs and what it is that really attracted you to those positions and what are the things that were kind of a negative. What are your work behaviors? How do you really like to work? What are your values? Do you like an area, a place where you're interacting with customers, where you're talking, where you're building relationships? Or maybe you like to work independently. Maybe you like to work alone. You like something a little bit more physical, or do you not mind, sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day? So you really have to start to look at those things. You have to analyze your strengths as well. So sometimes we think we're going to just jump right in and start looking for a job. But if we don't do this kind of thinking in the beginning, it's going to be really hard for you to really kind of gauge where it is you want to go, what path you want to choose. If you know your strengths, you're really going to be bringing out the best of yourself. And what do you need to improve on? So what are my improvements? What are the things that I need to do better? Start to think about those things. Make a list. Make a list of your skills. Make a list of your abilities, of your likes, your dislikes, things of that nature. Really give it some thought. I mean, it might take you a day where you just sit down and just kind of think, okay, what kind of job do I really want to try to pursue? What kind of career do I want to have? Okay, next slide. Then the other thing is what I always tell people, especially when they want to jump into an application right away, is I say you need to get your ducks in a row. And what I mean by that basically is when you sit down and start to fill out an online application, there's a lot of things you have to have ready, to go in order for you to complete that application. And this is kind of a list of some of those things that you need to have. So one, you have to have an updated resume. That's number one. Your resume really has to reflect your latest experience, and it also has to have all your contact information updated. If this is something that you need to do, reach out to one of our workforce connection centers, which are in Wisconsin and Illinois. Like I said before, you can find us on the web at goodwillchicago.com or find us on Facebook, but we'll be glad to help you update your resume. Another thing is also your cover letter. So a lot of people ask me, do I really need a cover letter? And I say, well, if they ask you for a cover letter, you better give them a cover letter because there's just no doubt about it. They want to see one. So if they're asking for one, you better make sure that you have one ready. Another thing is you want to have the dates and the addresses of your previous employers. So one of the things that happens is that people get on an application and they go online and they start to fill out the application, and what they run into is they're asked questions about their previous work experience, and they want address and phone numbers, maybe of their supervisor and the supervisor's name and the supervisor's phone number, and they don't have it on hand. And so a lot of these applications are designed so that if there's no activity on them for 5-10 minutes, they actually log you out. So you want to have this information with you right as soon as you start the application, before you start the application. That way, when you get to those questions, you have all the info that you can start to plug in there, and you won't get kicked out of the system, and you'll be able to get through that application much easier. Believe me, I've seen a lot of people very, very frustrated over just a few of these points. The other thing is you want to have 3 professional references. So a lot of times people don't think about their references, but really you need to take a little bit of time to think about it, because if you think that this employer is going to call your reference, that reference is being interviewed on your behalf. They're being asked questions about you. They're going to be taking time out of their day to be able to answer questions about you to help you get that employment. So you want to make sure that you let those references know if you can use them as a reference. Can I use you as a reference? Let them know the jobs maybe you're applying to, so that maybe they don't ignore the call, or they'll pick up the call, because that's definitely something that is very important. At some point, they're going to ask you for your references, so make sure that you have those ready. It might be in the application right up front, so make sure before you even start the application that you have your references with you. Also, make sure you check your emails and your voicemails often, as this is going to be something that they're going to contact you, right? So is your voicemail set up on your phone? If it's not set up, make sure you set it up with a nice friendly message, nice friendly greeting. Make sure you're checking your emails. I've seen so many people come in weeks after they've applied for a job and they've been offered an interview, but they didn't check their emails. And because of that, they missed out on an opportunity. They missed out on their emails, or they missed out on the opportunity to interview for the position because they weren't checking their emails. And also keep track of all the applications that you're filling out. So what I mean by that is that if you know the place that you applied to, usually you have to use a username, a password to get into that application. Write that down. So write down the name of the company, write down the username, write down the password. Keep it somewhere, keep it on a folder, keep it on one sheet of paper where you have all of these employers on there, because at some point you may need to go back into that application. And if you don't have the username or you don't have the password, you're really going to struggle. You're really going to have a hard time. If that's something that is something that's a kind of a struggle for you, again, reach out to one of the workforce connection centers in your area, and we'll be glad to help you navigate through this type of process. Slide. Next thing you do, once you have all your ducks in a row, is you really want to start to think about, okay, now where do I start to look for a job? Years ago, you could go to the newspaper and just kind of look up the want ads, and there were several jobs there. You'd circle them, and then you do whatever it is that they told you to do. Either call this person or go down to the plant. Nowadays, everything's online. So you really want to be able to select the best search engines that work best for you. There's a lot of them out there. This is not a comprehensive list by any means, but it's just a list of some of the basic ones that we kind of recommend people go to. So there's like Indeed, Monster, and Career Builder. These are some of probably the most well-known search engines for finding a job, finding work. And then you got some other that are a little bit more specific, like usajobs.gov. Now you can guess by the email, or you can guess by the website address. These are government jobs. So if that's something that interests you, this is definitely a website that you want to try to access. This is where you find the post office jobs. This is where you find the municipality type of positions, or working within a city or a state government. There's also Idealist, Simply Hired, and Snag a Job. These are all kind of newer type of search engines, but definitely very effective. Once you go in them, start exploring, start moving around, checking out what they offer, what they have. They might have something different than the other ones. So it just depends on what your preferences are and how you like to use a system and kind of the results that you're getting. So you don't want to limit yourself to just one particular search engine. You want to start looking at different search engines and see what the differences are and what positions are available. Of course, you can always go to the workforce connection centers again and come in, and we can always help you with your job search. There's some that are more specific that a lot of people haven't thought about. One of them is called NPO.net. So this is non-for-profit organizations.net. This is really geared towards the non-for-profits. A lot of them advertise on this website. So what you might not find on Monster and Indeed, you might find on NPO. A lot of folks that are looking, sometimes they overlook the non-for-profit organizations. This would be a mistake because there's a lot of non-for-profit organizations out there with some really great positions where you could really build an exceptional career, an exciting career where you could really help people and give back to your communities. A lot of them are run like Fortune 500 companies. They're very large non-for-profits. This is where you're going to find your schools, your hospitals, your nursing homes, other organizations that work in the community, the Boys and Girls Club, Goodwill will be on there, Salvation Army, these types of organizations. Also, there's a very specific website called theblueline.com. This is going to have all your first responder type positions available. So any municipality, any state government, local governments that are looking to hire police, firefighters, ambulance drivers, dispatchers, they have a bunch of civilian jobs, what they call civilian jobs on there as well, working with the local municipalities or emergency services. This is where you're going to find those type of positions, really, really beneficial to those people that are looking to work in first responder type positions. The last one on my list here is railslibraries.info.com, I think. What they are is basically a lot of the libraries advertise on this website. So if you're looking to work for a library, this is where you're going to find that job posting. That job lead is going to be posted on the library's website, but it's also going to be posted on Rails libraries. So this is a really great website that you can access and look for. People have found a lot of success here, especially if you're looking for something within the libraries. Libraries are really expanding. They're growing in terms of what they're offering to the public. So they're not just looking for librarians. So if you say, oh, I have a librarian's degree or I don't, there's a lot of programs that libraries are offering right now. There's a lot of technology that they're using. So a lot of IT people might be able to look for positions within Rails. So check out those websites. And again, if you need any help, you can always come to the Workforce Connection Center in Lombard or any one of the other workforce centers in Illinois or Wisconsin. Slide. So social media and job search. So how does this interact, right? So there's a big weaving together of social media and job search that's happening more and more every single day. And as a matter of fact, I got this little quote here. It says, according to a 2018 Career Builder survey, 70% of employers use social media to screen candidates during the hiring process. Can you believe that? 70% of the employers are going to check you out on social media. So they're going to go on your site. They're going to go either on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. They're going to be looking for you specifically to find out what kind of person you are. So candidates during the hiring process, and about 43% of the employers use social media to check on current employees. So even if you're already employed, social media is going to be used by your employer to kind of see what it is that you're posting and what it is that you're doing on social media. Go to the next slide. So what employers are searching are a few key items that they're looking for when researching a candidate via social networking sites. As a good sign to hire, this is what they're looking for. And you can see the percentages here. So they're looking for information that supports their qualifications for the job. If the candidate has a professional online persona, 50% of the employers surveyed said that that's what they're looking for. What other people are posting about this candidate, that's interesting. For any reason at all not to hire the candidate, so 24% of employers surveyed said they're looking for any reason not to hire this candidate. And they aren't stopping there either. 69% are using online search engines such as Google, Yahoo, Bing to search for candidates as well, compared to 59% the previous year. So this is going to be happening more and more. So you really have to be aware of your social media presence, because your potential employers are potentially looking you up and trying to find you and trying to see what it is that you're posting and what it is that you're putting out there. So we'll go to the next slide. So remember these key reasons that employers were turned off. So this is what turns employers off of candidates based on their online presence. Okay, candidates posted provocative or inappropriate photographs. Candidates posted information about them drinking or using drugs. Candidates had discriminatory comments about race, gender, or religion. Candidates badmouthed their previous employers or fellow employees. Candidates lied about their qualifications. Candidates had poor communication skills. Candidates were linked to criminal behavior, and they can find this through social media sometimes. Candidates shared confidential information from previous employers. Candidates' screen name was unprofessional. Candidates lied about an absence, or candidates just posted too frequently. So you got to kind of be aware of what potential employers are looking for and what your current employers might be looking for as well. So just be aware of some of these items and make sure that you're not committing these kinds of mistakes. Slide. So here's some of the big ones. So how can I use social media to my advantage, right? How can I use social media for career exploration? So here's some of the big ones that we're going to be kind of looking at a little bit. We'll talk about Facebook. We'll look at LinkedIn just briefly. We'll talk about Twitter as well. We're not going to go into any in-depth content for any of these. If you're more interested, you can always come to the Workforce Connection Centers, and we could definitely walk you through a little bit at a slower pace. But right now, we're just going to do kind of a mile-high view and how you can use these sites for your job search. Slide. So jobs on Facebook. So when you're on a desktop and you go on a Facebook account, your Facebook account, if you go to the left-hand side, usually there's a menu there, and it's going to have a lot of things like groups, pages, events, fundraiser, friends list, memories, et cetera, et cetera. If you keep scrolling down, there's going to be an icon there for jobs. And if you look on the screen there, it's highlighted by a green arrow that I put on there for you. If you click on jobs, it's going to open up an entire other a panel really that's going to have all these jobs that are going to be listed, and you'll be able to select these jobs based on your location. You'll be able to select it based on what the job titles are, so what kind of category these jobs fall in. So you might want to check that out if you're on Facebook. You might want to see something go on there. Maybe some folks haven't thought about that. Another thing is there's also pages and groups that are dedicated to job search. So if you're on Facebook, you can use it for more than just posting about your cat or your latest meal that you had. You can go on there and actually use it more effectively for job search. You can also find us, Goodwill, on Facebook, especially our Workforce Connection Centers. And we have plenty of content on there. You're already on there right now, obviously, watching something. So you can always go back to our Facebook page and check us out and see what we have to offer and what's going on. Next slide. The other one is Twitter. So Twitter is really interesting. On Twitter, you can play around with hashtags in the search bar to track down jobs. So I found some good ones by using combinations of my city and various industries. For example, hashtag Chicago jobs and hashtag Chicago tech jobs pulled up some really cool job postings. So if you're on Twitter, if you use Twitter, you could try using those type of hashtags, and you could find some positions that are being advertised right on Twitter. So you might be having contact with a recruiter that way. So that's an interesting way of finding new positions is through Twitter. Next slide. Of course, LinkedIn, there's a lot of jobs on LinkedIn. If you go to the top bar, if you have a LinkedIn account, you're going to have home, my network. Right next to that is going to be jobs. So LinkedIn is really more of a professional networking kind of a media site that you can utilize. There's a lot of information on there. Obviously, you can message people through there. But if you check out the jobs that they have on there, usually this is updated pretty frequently, which is pretty good. So, if you're looking for a particular type of position, you might be able to put that in there and find companies or find positions that are available, find recruiters within those companies, and be able to find out what type of positions are available in your area. So LinkedIn, of course, we're just doing a mile-high view here. There's a lot of information on there. Of course, if you need somebody to walk you through that and give you a little bit more information, visit one of the Workforce Connection Center sites. Next slide. Here's an interesting career exploration site. So this is another site that we utilize here at Goodwill. I let some of our candidates or clients know some of these sites and what's available and what they offer. So it's called OneNet. So you go on OneNet or onetonline.org is the website. It's an online, is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor, the Employment and Training Administration, and it's developed by the National Center for OneNet. So really, it has a lot of different positions that are just career positions. So you could find, for instance, on the right-hand side there, it says architecture and equipment operators, baristas, bridge and lock tenders, cement masons. I mean, you could find so many different types of positions. And then if you click on those, it'll actually tell you what the skill sets are needed for those positions, what the outlook for those positions are in the future, what kind of knowledge you might need for those type of positions, and it might actually start to kind of branch out into other positions that are similar to that position. So if you're looking for a specific, or maybe you're not sure what you're looking for, if you go on here and just start doing a career exploration and start looking at all these different types of positions that are available, you might find something that is of interest to you or something that might fit your skill set to a T. So check it out, give it a try. Okay, go to the next slide. So here we're just going to kind of wrap up a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit of the do's and don'ts of successful job search. So these are real simple, real basic, but definitely something you want to keep in mind. So do customize your resume and cover letter, as we talked in the beginning. You want to make sure that your resume and your cover letter reflect the type of position that you're applying for. Do spend time researching the company and reviewing the job description. So make sure that you know what the position is, what the requirements are, what it is that they're offering. Do check the company reviews on Glassdoor. We didn't really talk a lot about Glassdoor, but Glassdoor is a review site for different companies. So you can go on there and find out what other previous employers thought about that company. Do spend more than one application per day. Send more. So you don't want to just say, I sent an application last Thursday and I'm still waiting for a call. Look, if you're looking for work, you really have to start to work at it, so you have to send multiple applications per day. If you need a computer, if you need a place to work, you can always go to workforce connection centers. We always have computers available and we have people there ready to help you. Do apply to the company's official website. This is always what I tell somebody. Even if you found that company on a search engine, whether it be Indeed or Monster or LinkedIn or whatever, try to go to that company's official website. I just feel that there's more information that's posted there. There might be other positions that are available that might not be on the search engine that you were on. So you always want to go to the official website. Don't apply on a cell phone if possible. It's really hard to do that. A lot of people try to do that, but unfortunately they run into a lot of different things that they can't get through on a cell phone. So you want to use a computer. If you don't have a computer, you're always welcome to come to a Workforce Connection Center. We've got plenty of computers here to help you out and free internet. And don't forget what you applied to. So this is just something to keep in mind. Remember who you applied to, what the username and the password was for that company as well. Because that's something that a lot of people just seem to forget. So let's see, there's one last one. Don't give up. Don't give up. So don't give up if you really like the company. So if it's a company that you've applied to maybe in the past, maybe a year ago, 6 months ago, and they might have another position available, you could reapply. I mean, don't give up. If it's really a company that you really like and you want to be a part of it, keep trying. I mean, maybe that position wasn't for you, but there'll be another position available for you. So that kind of concludes our do's and don'ts and kind of concludes our session for today. Once again, my name is Marco Villalobos. I'm with the Workforce Connection Center in Lombard, Illinois. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. So you can come on in, you can give us a call or find us on Facebook. But once again, we're here to help you with your job search. We'll help you, direct you in the best way we can for something that fits what you're looking for. So thank you very much for your time. We hope you have a great day. Take care.